There's something in the air. There's something going on with the cosmos. Technical difficulties. God.
Hi, MJ.
Hi, Snow. I've had a weird week. Reality Redemption Podcast is back up and running again. This is actually take 2. You missed us totally below the first take.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
We have those a lot.
Yeah, I know. We need a studio or something. Good thing we're going to be going to a real studio pretty soon.
Yeah.
You know, to do a very special podcast.
A podcast mashup.
Yeah. Hey, so, you know, with you being out of work, I think you probably miss a lot of the news and stuff, right? About stuff that's going on, or
some
you're still
of it
up
by
with it?
choice. Like I'm trying to not. It's like I still need to get the news, but it's like, God, I really hate the news sometimes.
Did you hear about the shit show in Afghanistan today?
I heard a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we pulled out of Afghanistan, and I want people to pay attention to this, okay? Pay real close attention to it. The former administration is the one that agreed to a deal with the Taliban, invited the Taliban to Camp David on the eve of 9/11 to negotiate this deal. These are just facts, people. It's out there. It's just facts.
The truth is out there.
And everybody knew what was going to happen when we pulled out of Afghanistan, right? It would just be a shit show. And the government fell in like days. And we had to go in with helicopters and airlift what personnel that we had at the embassy out.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to state that this isn't fake news, okay? We just need to play something, okay? And because it's just ridiculous, so we'll go here.
Worse than Afghanistan. How about that? Worse than Afghanistan, where, by the way, I started the process. All the troops are coming back home. They couldn't stop the process.
That's a voice I didn't want to hear.
21 years is enough, don't we think? 21 years.
I actually agree with him on this.
They couldn't stop the process.
I know, it's just a voice I didn't need to hear.
It was very tough to stop the process when
haven't
other
missed
things
it.
were out. Yeah, thank you. It's a shame. 21 years by a government that wouldn't last. The only way they last is if we're there. What are we going to say? We'll stay for another 21 years, then we'll stay for another 50. The whole thing is ridiculous. So we're bringing our troops back home from Iraq. We're bringing the troops back home from Afghanistan.
Okay, he said it, right? So why? Why is that side blaming Biden for this?
Because that's what they do.
But they totally forgot. Now, the RNC went and deleted that from their website. And Trump went in and deleted all of his tweets of taking credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say I sort of agree. I feel like we abandoned our allies over there. And maybe Biden should have rethought it. But then he would have gotten a shitstorm if he would have kept people there.
Whatever he does, he's fucked either
yeah,
way.
Especially in this situation. And
he's gonna have backlash either way.
And I agreed with Trump, and I'm not going to blame Trump totally because this was a war that we should have never really gone to. It was once we got Bin Laden, it should have been mission accomplished. If
we asked any Republican on the street here where we live, so these type of Republicans, I'm talking Trump humpers, who's the bigger threat to you? Afghanistan, the Taliban, or liberals? What do you think they would say? I mean, they're...
Well, yeah, they would say liberals.
Right. No matter what our side does, it's going to be wrong to these people. We have to just quit fucking caring what they say.
And here's the other thing. Now the Republicans are latching on to, we abandoned them. What's going to happen to the women over there? They're going to be killed. A month ago, basically our military generals and stuff saw this coming. We knew that this was going to happen. We didn't realize it was going to happen so quickly. So what they wanted to do was increase the immigration rate from Afghanistan. And Paul Gosar and a bunch of other Republicans shot it down because they don't want the immigrants coming here.
Right. They don't want any. They don't want any immigrants, except for maybe if they're from European countries.
Right. And so, I mean, there's blame to go on both sides, but it's bullshit. This left versus right bullshit. Our Representative Hildy, well, Trump would never let this happen. No, he was the one that was touting it. He's the one who came up with the deal.
He ran on it, though.
Yeah.
He ran on it. Remember when he said it's time to end the war? He said first thing he was bringing the troops home.
And
I love how these people forget everything like that quickly.
Oh, and they also said, well, how dare Biden go on a vacation? No, he was at Camp David. Camp David is basically the White House away from the White House retreat on the weekends.
Then be mad at Trump golfing every fucking chance he could get.
Right, exactly. Stop the hypocrisy. And then
I know, I'm so sick of them fucking forgetting anything. Hey, fuckheads, how are we supposed to trust you on any facts when you can't remember shit? You don't remember anything. Why would we believe anything that comes out your mouth?
Right, and they're calling for Biden to be impeached because of the way he's handled this situation and the way he's handled COVID. Now, we wouldn't have the COVID situation if it wasn't for the Republicans being anti-mask and anti-vax. We would have had this handled already.
Again, if you asked any of these morons out on the street who's responsible for what administration did COVID happen under, they'd probably lie and say Biden.
No, they would say that it was Obama's fault for working with Fauci to fund the China lab.
Right.
Lab.
They're not going to take any responsibility. I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make. I guess I'm not doing a great job of doing it, but they will not cop up to anything that they do. They just are
right.
No.
Even though the Trump disbanded the pandemic response team.
Yeah, they're not going to admit it though. So I'm done arguing with these folks. I try to tell them, I've even tried to say, when a conversation starts going that direction, I'm like, whoa. I don't want to talk to you about any of those kind of topics. I want to keep it lighthearted. Let's talk about kayaking. Let's talk about hiking. Let's talk about things that I can at least trust you on, because I'm not trusting you on the other conversations.
Right, and this all ties into what we're going to be talking about today somehow, I promise. Our favorite Colorado representative, Lauren Boebert. Is that how you say it?
Boebert?
Boebert?
I call her Boebert, but I think it's Boebert.
What she tweeted out was LOL on a video. And what's happening is in Afghanistan, people raided the airport and got onto the runways.
Yeah, and
hundreds
they were hanging on the plane.
Hanging on the plane, and the plane goes to take off, and unfortunately, some people fell to their deaths.
Yeah.
And she
thought it was funny.
She typed up LOL, and she goes, "I guess this is better than mean tweets."
Okay.
Donald Trump Jr.
Wow.
Made some tweets that was kind of making fun of the situation.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. So, sorry there, our headphones gave out there for a second. My mic went out. So I guess this all goes back to being kind to one another, and you hear about earthquake in Haiti over the weekend, 7.2 earthquake, 1,200 people died.
Wow.
But that's a shithole country, right? I mean, that's what came from the former administration's mouth. Just shithole country, and fuck those people. Well, he didn't say that, but
I'm sure he did behind closed doors.
I guess that's going to end the political rant portion of this, but
thank God. Because if we're going to talk about kindness, we can't talk about politics
Right,
and be kind
exactly.
to our friends across the aisle. So that's why I don't want to do it either.
I don't think that contributes to my mood lately. It's not bad mood. It's a little bit of depression. And God, you know what? I think it was that I had a relationship start it was a year ago this weekend. And it was her birthday the other day. And I'm like, listen to the new Killers album, which is phenomenal. Pressure Machine. If you haven't listened to it, trust me, phenomenal. Can't wait to see them next year.
I love the Killers.
And there's a couple songs on it, and you would swear that he was writing about that situation, because there's a situation in one song that's very similar to a situation I went through in that relationship. It's creepy. And then I went to go see that movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, and there's an actress in that looked just like her. And I'm like, what is this? What are all these weird signs? And I'll get into another one as soon as we get into the main gist of what we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned. I'll tie it all in. And before we get to that, I want to thank Kelly Lynn last week for doing our podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly.
Yeah. And Opie said he was going to listen. He never gave me a review. He probably thought we'd suck, but it was cool that Opie would take the time and listen.
Yeah.
And we're going to be giving away a couple books. Pay attention to our social media. Reality Redemption on Facebook and Instagram. And we're going to ask some trivia questions. And we have 2 signed copies of her book to give away. My Husband Is Not a Rainbow. So let's get into it. I turned you on to this movie this week. And I waited to talk about it. Joe Bell.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
When I thought it couldn't get any sadder, it gets way sadder.
Yeah, well, you're not going to see the end coming.
And then, I also thought too, when I was watching the movie, I'm like, because clearly it's a movie about redemption. So
right.
I thought, how fitting that we would talk about it on the podcast. But I thought, they probably picked the most perfect actor to play the role if we're talking about someone who needed redemption, because Mark Wahlberg had gotten a lot of shit for his earlier days.
Okay, so let's start about what the movie's about. Mark Wahlberg, the real-life character, plays Joe Bell. Joe Bell lived in Oregon, and his son was gay, and his son got bullied a lot and committed suicide. So he decides he's going to walk to New York because his son loved Broadway and Lady Gaga and
wanted to move to New York.
So he decides to walk from Oregon to New York to raise awareness for anti-bullying, again, especially against gay people. And I'll get to my story a little bit before we get back to the movie. And the other weird thing was basically my stepson. He was bisexual, and he lived in Kingman. And he got picked on, as you would imagine, somebody that has flamboyant hair, and a little bit on the flamboyant side, would get in this town and get in a conservative town. And it was his birthday, would have been last week too. So it was weird that I watched that movie. And what he did, he moved to the Midwest to meet someone he met online, which at the time I didn't think it was a good idea, but he was 19, and I'm not his real dad. Who am I to stop him? And that relationship went south, and he committed suicide by stepping in front of a train. So sorry, touchy subject.
Yeah.
So this movie got kind of hard for obvious reasons. And you do see the meanness in the world, especially around here. I mean, when he's in the restaurant, he's ordering, and there's something on TV about gay pride or gay pride parade or something like that, and these two heavyset guys that would most likely
redneck type guys.
support the past administration. They look up at the TV and they make some comments, and he just gets up and hands them a card. And I guess I'm not giving away too much. Is while Mark Wahlberg's doing this, Joe Bell is doing this journey, he's seeing visions of his son, and his son's trying to help him along the way. And his son said he didn't do enough to stand up to the bullying on that.
Well, it was him like having the monologue with himself, though. Like,
yeah. Even here in town, our friend Courtney, the artist, she was working at an art gallery downtown, and on the bathroom doors, she put up this artwork that was a rainbow and for all-inclusive bathrooms. And the partner or the owner of the gallery came in and destroyed that artwork. And Courtney promptly quit. Now, the owner was claiming that it was copyrighted artwork. Now, I guess Courtney.
Wait a second, the Art Hub?
It wasn't the Art Hub.
I was
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say the name.
There's no way that it was the Art Hub. Okay.
No, I'm not going to say the name of who the business is.
No, you don't have to. I was just getting confused, so I was like, "There's no way it would be." Okay.
Yeah. So they tore that down, and we have the Black Bear Diner, who has a gender neutral bathroom too. And what is the big deal on that?
I don't understand why people don't want to be able to go to the bathroom in the one with the shortest line. Like that's my thing about it is like, why would you want to stand there? Like, why is it such a big deal? You can still lock the door. It's not like it's an open.
Is it that? Would you want a transgender person? You're a redneck in the bathroom, and a transgender person comes into the bathroom. They would still get mad. It's not the fact of the bathroom. That's not what it's triggering them. It's their hatred. It's
usually a single bathroom. Like they'll have several separate bathrooms, and it says either or. It'll have a picture of the man and the woman on the stall. Because I've been to restaurants like this. It's not like a casino bathroom where you have like several stalls and it's just like, hey, there's your free for all. That's not even what. That's why I don't understand why people are freaking out so much about it. It's like you're still in your own fucking stall. What do you care who uses the bathroom before or after you? Why do you care?
And in your home, you don't have two bathrooms.
Right, do you have a sign at your house that, like, the fucking boys in the house will go in one and the girls use the other?
It's hypocritical, too, because we've all been to those concerts or the bar that's packed, and, of course, the ladies' room line is really long, and the drunk girl comes in the men's room, and everybody's like, woo!
That would be Snow. Snow's always doing that. Like, Snow's like, I'm not waiting in line for these bitches to be, like, checking their hair and shit, like, while I gotta pee.
And when
you saw the line before you went in there, and then they all look like assholes, and they take forever.
And when it's a pretty girl, they never mind.
I know. Like, it's so dumb.
And
people are dumb. They're not only mean, but they're dumb too.
And I guess that's so frustrating. Is just people are mean, and the whole problem with this whole world is the lack of empathy. Mm-hmm. And I'll get it. I get it sometimes, and I've driven with you too, and I've seen you road rage. And that happens. But generally, you and I are kind to almost everybody we encounter out there.
Yeah.
For the most part. And I think most people do.
I have a rule where I'm always nice to people until they're an asshole. Then I have a very hard time of remaining a nice person. I know that's what I should do, but sometimes I have a hard time of not being like, hey, like saying shit back to them. Like, You don't get to talk to people like that, or whatever. When I should just walk away and keep my mouth shut, but...
The one thing I do when I road rage is, when you're at the red light and you're the first car and it turns green and immediately the person behind you toots their horn?
Oh, God.
You know what I do? I pretend like my car stalled. I just put my hands up like this. I'm trying. And it gets them so mad. And I wait till the yellow and I take off.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah,
You're being a big meanie bag. Well, they might have to be somewhere at work.
So I'm guilty too at times.
Yeah.
So anyway, Joe Bell, it's a fantastic movie. I think he should get the Oscar for it. I think whoever played his son, he should get an Oscar too.
Well.
Just a brilliant role.
Yeah, usually in order to be like an Oscar contender thing, you have to have like the tragic story.
Right.
Nailed it. You have to have shit against you. You have to be like an underdog too. You have to. Yeah. That's how it goes. Or a lot of times there wasn't really learning disabilities. A lot of times those are the ones that also win Oscars too.
Yeah.
So it would depend on who else. What are the other Oscar contender movies?
Though that gets me to a point I wanted to make further on down the road, and maybe we should make that down because I have a kind of a funny point to make about that. But let's take a break for a second and talk about what kind of beer are we having, because
we are having. It is from Wild Barrel, and it is a peach cobbler imperial pastry sour.
It's good stuff.
I'm trying to find out where they're out of. Oh, San Marcos, California.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
We're trying to promote more on the podcast and get that. So every week we try to do a different craft beer. I think we're going to try another one in just a couple minutes here.
I know. You want me to go grab it?
Yeah.
You're still working on yours.
You know what? I'm going to finish this. We're going to take a break and we will be right back.
Hold.
Okay, we're back.
And
all right. I think we fixed the microphone again.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, what are we drinking now?
Let me try it. It is sour. Okay, so it is Simple Machine Brewing Company's Cherry Drop Cherry Lemon Sour.
And where are they out of?
Oh, they're an Arizona craft brewer.
Oh,
they are
cool.
out. They're off of Deer Valley Road in Phoenix, Arizona.
Nice.
All
right, promoting the local shit.
Local.
Yeah.
My local hometown.
Yeah. And speaking of sponsorships, Pete sent me the label for the Pineapple Express.
Just the label, Peter?
Yeah.
Not the goods?
Where is it? Where's it, Peter?
Peter! Where's the mustard sauce?
We have big plans with this, Peter. All right, so I think we're back. We're laughing again, and sorry for getting emotional there.
That's okay. Hey, you know what? It's important to process that though, and get your feelings out about that. Anyways, and that's all part of healing and growing.
So we talked about the movie, what it's about. Check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. You can rent it. Well worth it. But let's talk about Mark Wahlberg and the redemption of Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg's redemption.
Okay, so Marky Mark, we all know that. Mm-hmm. Such a good vibration, sweet sensation.
I remember that video.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. What song was that based? What song did he sample?
Vibrations.
No.
No, I mean that's the name of the song now, right?
Right, but the sample in the song, what was that? Irrelevant.
I don't know.
The most famous Wahlberg. Sorry, Donnie. Oh,
Donnie was my favorite new kid.
but Donnie's married to an anti-vaxxer, Jenny McCarthy.
Oh, is she
I don't know.
anti-vax on COVID though?
I don't know.
She's just anti-vax for like the autism reasons,
Right.
which I mean, I like Jenny McCarthy. Like, I mean, and I'm sure she has her reasons for. I'm not so sure that I agree with those anti-vax
Okay.
things either, but yeah.
All right, so back to the more popular brother. He got in trouble growing up in Boston. He grew up in street gangs and stuff like that, and he got into a fight with some black kids and used some racial epithets towards them. And when they were making the movie Brokeback Mountain, he turned down the role because he thought he'd be creeped out by having to do a kissing scene with another man. Now, is that homophobic?
I don't know, because like I don't really think so. And I know I'm probably going to sound stupid for what I'm about to say, but aren't there like actors who have like their limits on lots of things? Like some of them will refuse to do any sort of nudity, even if it's just for, it goes with the role. Not that it's pornographic in any nature, but it's like for the role. Like it's for the art that's involved. So I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I'm sure that Heath Ledger would have thanked him for stepping aside, because I'm assuming that was the role that he was gonna.
Yeah.
He's more of like the Heath Ledger type actor, right?
Yeah.
As far as looks goes.
Yeah, and it was Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Right. They were the two main characters, but I can't see him playing the Jake Gyllenhaal character. I can't really see any other actors than the two that played those roles. I think they cast it perfectly anyway, so I'm glad that Marky Mark stepped aside. But do I think that it's fair to call somebody homophobic because they thought that they would be uncomfortable kissing another man on screen? No, because isn't it supposed to look
authentic?
Yes. So if you're going to have like this kind of wall up that you can't control, but you know that you wouldn't be comfortable doing it, isn't it only appropriate for him to have said that?
Right. And to be fair, this movie, Joe Bell, was made by the same director who did Brokeback Mountain. And I think Mark...
I thought Ang Lee did Brokeback Mountain.
Well, maybe it was the writer then.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I should research that part.
Because they always did those jokes about how Ang Lee totally sucked up the first Hulk movie. That's how I'm familiar.
Yeah, he kind of did.
But then they were talking about how he redeemed himself with Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah. So Mark Wahlberg chose this role, I believe. I can't speak for him personally. Was to sort of redeem himself for being misconstrued in the past. Now, I don't know his intentions in the past, why he said those racial things, but as a kid, sometimes you say stupid shit. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people should be held accountable for things they said, like, oh, this had to be the late 80s.
We've all said stupid shit like that, though. I remember when I was a kid and I would say, oh my God, that's so gay, meaning lame.
Right. And yeah.
A lot of kids did that.
Yeah, and when you hang out with your friends and, one doesn't want to do something and you go, come on, F word. I'm guilty. I've done it. Okay, but
Yeah.
was my intention towards hate? No. It was acceptable at the time.
And it's also like...
It's not right, but it was accepted.
People grow and they learn from their mistakes. That's why I kind of like his redemption story. That's why I'm a fan of redemption. we've got to at least, how else do you allow somebody to grow then if you don't allow them to redeem themselves? If you don't allow for that process to happen, you're just like, I remember what you said and what you did when you were 5 years old. Like, how are people supposed to ever redeem themselves?
Right.
It's like, okay, I learned from it. It was wrong and I grew. Then why aren't people being like, hey, that's really cool that you said that you admitted to it and you just said it. Yeah.
And I was telling one of our like-minded friends that she should watch this because it's a really good movie and a really good message for the most part. Everybody should watch it because it's a really good message, because I think it would teach us to be more empathetic to people, to be kinder to people, and raise awareness for that, just like our friends with the And Then Initiative do here in Kingman, who handle the Gay Pride Month festivities.
I'm sure that the guy in the movie, the one that the real guy,
Joe Bell. Yeah.
I'm sure that before he had a gay son, he probably said things that were inappropriate.
No, and you could tell he wasn't really accepting of his son at first.
But it's like that's why I'm like, his was definitely a story of redemption. And hey, the message is, folks, you watch that movie, you don't know if that's going to be you in this situation. You don't know that your child's not going to come to you someday and be like, I'm gay, you don't know that. So it's like, if we all did a little, like, that's probably the thing I like most about movies is they teach us things.
Well, and the point I was trying to make about our friend was she refused to watch it because Mark Wahlberg was in it. I hate him. And well, okay, you can hate somebody, but I don't know. Sometimes you gotta suspend reality.
Then you sound like the Republicans with, I'm not watching another Susan Sarandon rap movie. That like they do so you're doing what, like, the people that you dislike, you're behaving in the same manner. So congratulations. Not really that accepting, are you?
Yeah, and we'll get back into the joke part about it. And none of this is joking, but what you said about, to get an Oscar award, you need to play a mentally handicapped person.
Right.
And do you remember Tropic Thunder, the movie?
Yeah.
And the Ben Stiller.
They said the R word.
Yeah, the Ben Stiller character was talking to the Robert Downey Jr. character, and the Ben Stiller guy didn't get the Oscar because, as Robert Downey Jr. said, and it was hilarious, he said, well, the problem is you went full R word. Uh-huh. You never go full R word. And I remember sitting in the theater with my girlfriend at the time, and even at that time, everybody was so uncomfortable. But I find that kind of humor funny because it's a joke. It's a joke, people. It's a joke,
and people talk like that, and we know that they're joking, though. Like, some people say more ballsier things than the rest of us want to say ourselves. Okay? It doesn't make it right, but people talk like that. I mean, I hate to break it to some of our friends, but it's like, not everybody goes around and lives their life like pulling out the liberal handbook to find out what they can say and what they can't say. Like, not everyone lives their life like that. They just don't, Yeah.
And that's I think Bill Maher made a point on his show this week about that, because he was talking about Matt Damon. And Matt Damon didn't say anything publicly because Matt Damon is Matt Damon. He's America's sweetheart, or one of them. But behind the scenes, he was joking around and used the F word slur. And his daughter came up to him and said, Daddy, that's not right. Don't you realize what you're saying? And he sat there and thought about it and goes, you're right. So what Matt Damon does to raise awareness for this, he puts it out there. I screwed up. I said this word in front of my daughter. She called me out. I will never say the word again. Uh-huh. Well, one side our side, the people that are way over here on our side,
Right.
they want to have Matt Damon canceled because he said that. He admitted he said that word in private.
For publicly going through his redemption.
Right.
See, this is where I get so irritated and pissed off with our side. Stop fucking fighting over stupid nitpicky shit, guys. We have bigger fucking fires to put out.
Right. I'm literally.
Bigger fires.
Literally, California has the biggest wildfire ever going on. Okay.
Excellent point.
We've got COVID going on. And
you're going to worry about, like, Matt
Damon said,
corrects himself. Actually, his daughter did, but he even recognizes that, hey, he's basically saying sometimes parents actually learn from their children.
Yeah.
What's so fucking bad about that?
And Matt Damon.
What is so bad about that?
Matt Damon was probably on the phone with Ben Affleck because he was back with J-Lo, and he said, "What are you doing, F word?"
Is that true? Are they really back together?
Yeah, supposedly.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Well, good for them. Maybe it'll work out this time.
Hopefully they'll make another movie together.
Jiggly
or whatever it was.
Giglio
Giggly.
or Geely, I think
Geely.
is how you
All right.
pronounced it.
I never saw that train wreck.
Right. Hopefully they won't make another video together.
Well, hopefully.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got.
Supposedly, Matt and Ben want to write another movie, but they're never going to write another Good Will Hunting.
No, they don't have a Robin Williams anymore.
Right, and to bring this, full circle, Robin Williams, he passed away, 10 years ago. Was it 10 years ago?
It's
10 years ago? And he was another one, suicide. Now, he committed suicide because
he had an illness.
He had an
right?
illness, yeah. Janie Lane Warrant, he died 10 years ago of alcoholism. The cherry pie guy, drinking cherry pie beer. The cherry pie guy died 10 years ago. He isolated himself from his friends and his family members and just couldn't quit drinking and doing drugs. And so he unfortunately passed. And I've met Janie Lane before, and he was just such a really nice, funny guy. Genuinely nice and funny. Why is it always funny ones who are really depressed?
Well, because usually they are very good at not showing it, but they are constantly battling demons.
Yeah, so I guess the moral of the story is we should all be kinder to each other. Yes, we should choose our words carefully, but we can't be too woke either.
When we fuck up on some of the words that come out our mouths, we should also be a little more forgiving and be like, now I can see if you have words with somebody and you're like, it's not appropriate for you to say that, and then they just don't fucking get the hint. Okay, fine. If you can't deal with it, then yeah, cool. Cut them out of your life, if they're not going to recognize what they did. But give people fucking chances.
Yeah, and you're not going to go back, and if you went back, and you can't.
Are you perfect?
You can't go back 10 years on somebody's Twitter, especially on a comedian, and look for something offensive that they said. Because you're going to find it.
Well, and I want to say, how much fucking time do you got on your hands? You could be
You're right.
probably writing the next great screenplay, but you're wasting it looking up some asshole's Twitter feed. Priorities.
Yeah.
Pick your battles wisely.
So see, we started off bashing one side in the beginning of this podcast, and we're bashing it on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because that's what it's about. It's about forgiveness. And
trust me, I'm still going to bash the other side, too. That will never stop.
And what would Jesus want? Okay, now, we're spiritual. We're not Christians. What would Jesus want? Jesus would want us to be forgiving and love thy neighbors and all get along and love each other. He'd want us to take care of each other by wearing a mask, getting vaccinated. He wouldn't want us abandoning our allies in a foreign country, people who fought next to us. But on the same note, They had 20 years to learn how to fight, too, on that note. They did have 20 years. And I don't know. I think we need to listen to more Killer's music because that's very soothing and relaxing.
And we got to prepare because we get to go see
Yeah,
them.
a year from now.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna have another new album out by then,
Hopefully.
and they're getting the original band back together for it.
How are they gonna play all the hits that I want them to play? Like all of the songs that I consider their greatest songs.
They won't.
It'll be like almost every single album, the
No.
whole thing.
No, they won't.
And it'd be like, no!
Before we wrap this up, kind of want to dedicate this particular episode to his name was Fez Whatley, and he originally was a producer of the Ron show in Florida, and then they moved to the Ron and Fez show, Ron Bennington, Fez Whatley on Daytona Beach. How this ties in is they eventually went to New York and they did the show after Opie and Anthony. And then when Opie and Anthony went to satellite radio, Opie and Anthony brought Ron and Fez with them. How this ties in is Fez supposedly played a gay character on the show. He had a very flamboyant voice, very over the top. The character in Birdcage, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like that kind of
Lane and
Nathan
Robin
Lane,
Williams.
Nathan Lane, a very kind of like that over the top gay personality on the radio. And what he would say is, no, this is just the role I'm playing. This is just the role I'm playing on the radio. And Fez suffered from real bad depression, and he talked about it on the show. And in 2012, he came out as gay. Now, when it came out, we were all like, we all knew that, Fez, but hey, congratulations for standing up, because that's got to be brave to do to an audience of thousands, or how many ever they had. But he also had health issues, and he had several heart attacks, and he passed away over the weekend from a heart attack, complications of a heart attack. But at least he was a huge Tampa Bay fan, and at least he got to see the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. So I'm sure that he was happy with that. But this one's for you, Fez. I never met him, just listened to the show, and all this Opie and Anthony shit.
To you,
Cheers.
Fez.
Cheers, Fez. Cheers to Mark Wahlberg, and love the movie. Joe Bell, go watch it. And watch it till the end. Yeah, that's all we'll say about that. And we're looking to do more podcasts. I think we're going to try to get Aaron on next week, because Aaron was in Afghanistan, and I think he wants to talk about that
Okay.
and his feelings
Cool.
on what happened.
And Stephanie?
And Stephanie. Well, we can have Stephanie. You know what? We could get Aaron on the phone, because Aaron's in New Orleans right now,
Oh, okay.
because he's on a cruise ship doing some work.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Fun.
he's been there for about a month and a half at least.
oh, cool.
And I don't know how long he's doing it, but left Stephanie behind. But I think this is good for him to be out of Kingman right now, and he's taking care of himself. He's working hard, and from what I've talked to him, he sounds really good. So,
Good for you, Aaron.
yeah, Aaron, good job, buddy.
We miss you.
So I guess we'll wrap this one up, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
Nothing I really need to
Yeah,
add.
because it's all depressing out there, but at least we have this to do therapy.
And we
Every
have
week.
good beer.
Good beer,
Folks.
good beer, conversation, therapy.
And good
It all
friends.
works out, and in the end, everything's going to be okay, and we just need to look out for each other and be nice to each other.
Just be nice.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Yeah, and so that's it for you guys. Take
Love
care.
y'all.
Love you, and take care of yourselves, okay? Bye.